Alright, welcome back guys. We've got another Hall of Heroes here for you. This is Carcano, not the light sniper, the fire sniper. And to give you just a kind of a too long didn't read analysis of this HOH, he's a great food. This is a great food HOH. We're going to speed it up because the floors take a while in the later stages, and the beginning stages don't really challenge you or matter, so we're going to speed it up. But I haven't done an HOH video in a while, and this one was particularly important to me because they're fantastic skill ups for the blue sniper, Covenant, who I just acquired 2 weeks ago at the Houston meetup. I really didn't want to Devilmon him, so I decided, okay, I'll wait for an HOH. He's still usable without skill ups. I put 2 snipers into him, neither one went to the 3rd skill, which was a bummer. But then this HOH coming as soon as humanly possible lets me get him online really quick, which I'm excited about. You'll notice I'm using almighty summoning pieces. I was waiting for just a couple of HOHs. This is one of them that I would spend the 10k guild points on to complete. So I'm going to get 10 snipers using the almighty summoning pieces. If you're not familiar with it, it's, you know, I think it's useful if you need the 5 extra skill ups. Not everyone will for every monster, but I definitely do for the sniper. So I try to keep 20k guild points on hand because it takes me a little over, I would say a little over a month to farm the 10k guild points. That way, if they give me 2 back to back, I can handle it. If I can handle 2 good HOHs back to back. So, talking about the family as a whole, Covenant is the best by far out of even L and D, which is usually kind of strange. Oftentimes the L and D will slightly surpass one of the elementals, but in this case, that's not how that works. Covenant's really the only, I would say, meta useful monster out of the family. Different people have tried different things. I personally have the light sniper I pulled a while ago, and he's not quite useful. He's close, but not quite. And from what I've heard of the dark one, not quite useful. So there's going to be a lot of people farming these Carcanos and feeding them to Covenants, like almost everybody, I would think. And Covenant's new enough that the odds of having pulled enough snipers for him is very low. So this is a perfect HOH and just great timing by Comtua. So very happy with it. I know that you can buy the almighty summoning pieces apart from in between runs, which is what I do. I do a run, I buy the pieces. I do a run, I buy the pieces. And the reason for that is I've done a few of these where I've max skilled them. I did the Shayna. What else did I do? Dryad, maybe? There's a couple that I'll do. The Miang, I believe. I've done a few, and kind of that's what I use guild points for now, is the HOHs. I've got a couple left, and if they come around, there's my first fail. If they come around, I'll do them, and if not, I'll wait and just hold on to the pieces. So I switched to a slightly more control with a little bit healing comp for the next couple levels. We'll see how that goes. So I think I'm saving for Cannon Girl is the other one, because I have the Nat 5 Cannon Girl, Christina, who's not good, but in theory, they made her a Nat 5 for a reason. They want her to be usable somewhere, so I'm going to wait for that buff. The most recent buff was not enough to make her average, so in theory, she'll get another buff. Like, the best thing that could happen is when you get buffed out of terrible, you don't get buffed all the way to average. Because if you get buffed to average, you have a use, and then they can stop. But I don't think she has a use yet, so she's still not great. So I'm going for Cannon Girl. I'm going for Boomerang. We haven't seen the Boomerang yet. I'd like to max at least the blue one, and then maybe save for another pull. And then I think there was one more. Oh yeah, Gargoyle. We'll take Gargoyle. I don't have a Gargoyle I like yet. I've heard the wind one's pretty good. I've pulled 2 blue ones, but I'll farm it times 10. I think it's new enough, it's rare enough that they'll have a use for them at some point, and when they do, when one of them becomes relevant in any way, I'll be ready to go. So those are the couple I'm looking at. So we're done with B6. We're just rolling along. I like to make the speed go pretty quick, because you don't need to watch me summon almighty pieces and stuff like that. Like, that's kind of not ideal. But there's not a lot to talk about this HOH in general. It's basically just Covenant's good. That's it. The light sniper I can speak to a little bit. It has a lot of cool stuff going on, but it doesn't do anything with it. So it's like, for those of you who don't know, it cycles turns. It gets 25% bar every time a buff is applied on the enemy team. And that's cool. It cuts, right? It cuts. But unlike a lot of other things that cuts, or that cut, it doesn't have any relevant use when it cuts. So it cuts, it ignores like shields and invincibilities and stuff, and then it has a buff removal on 2. So you can build them with enough accuracy to do a single target buff removal, but it can't do enough damage to kill like anything. Maybe illusion, maybe. So it doesn't really have a place in the game. A couple of, I think this is the really long loss. Let's check. There's one where I take it all the way to the last stage. Oh no, I win this one. Must be next stage. So this, for those of you who don't know, this is all pre-recorded. That's how I'm able to speed it up. And yeah, so I'm re-watching me clearing floors 1 through 10. So I can kind of talk about the HOH as we go. So he removes the buff. He does nothing in terms of damage after that, and that's a bit of the problem there. So yeah, there's a couple things I could think of that would make him more viable. One, he could be an AoE strip. That alone would make him viable. Cut, AoE strip would really mess things up on AD. Like think about, say Praha for instance, as an AoE strip. She's great because she cuts due to Nemesis runes. He doesn't need Nemesis runes. He cuts because you have to buff to do enough damage to win with a cleave team. So that'd be cool. That'd be amazing, actually. He might move up into like the best tier of 80 monsters. So that'd be great. You could build him tanky with accuracy. Just take all your stuff. The second thought I had was, if you let him keep extra turns he stole. So if they AoE buff times 1, he gets 4 25% buffs, 100% of a turn. If they AoE buff times 2, say Awusa, he gets 8 25% buffs, which is 200% of a turn. So let him take 2 turns. Let him stack. That would be a cool unused mechanic of taking back-to-back turns guaranteed that I think would be really neat. If they need to Bastet into Megan to do their AO, well, suddenly he's got 4 turns. You can get a lot done with 4 turns, especially when, you know, some of your skills are on a 3-turn cooldown, 2-turn cooldown, whatever. So I think that'd be a really neat buff that would make him unique in the game. So those are the 2 things I can think of. As far as this HOH goes, if you're having trouble with it, the only stage that's given me any sort of an issue is the mid stage with the Ophelia, I think is her name, the Fire Paladin, and the 2 water irises on either side, the free monster, whatever the name is. That's the only one that's giving me trouble, mainly because I'll bring Beretta to dot and kind of speed things up, and the water units don't really take the dots, and then she doesn't take the dots because she gets immunity every time she does her skill 1. So if you're having any trouble at all, that's the main spot. If you need to manual it, that would be the spot to manual it, I think. She also does the invincibility cleanse, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, that's what slows down my runs. That's what gives me some issues. So if you're having any trouble with the HOH, there it is. The light sniper wave can be a bit of an issue too if you rely heavily on buffs, just because they take a lot of turns and they actually do damage in the HOH. Whereas if they were my light sniper, they wouldn't do damage. So that's the other bit of an issue in this HOH. Other than that, the HOH is pretty smooth going. It's the problem with HOHs in general are, if you can clear them to level 10, you'll always be able to clear them to level 10. You might have to manual a stage or 2, but your account is good to go. If you can't, you won't. Like, there's no way you can strategize your way into clearing to level 10. You can't use the right rep monster and clear to level 10. It just won't happen. They're tuned in such a way that their stats will be better than your stats to such a degree. I think this is the long, slow loss. Let's speed through this one. Their stats are better than your stats to such a degree that you're stuck no matter what. We're going to speed up the video here, because see, we're down to 3 units and they are not the right units. So we'll try it again on B9. How do I clear to level 10 in the future? If you can't do it now, you've got a couple things to do. You need to get your arena towers maxed. I say that a lot. It's super, super important. Max those arena towers. They give you hidden stats. They're like free runes that are always on every monster, if that helps kind of clarify why they're so important. And you want that. You want your monsters to be as max ruined as possible. You're also always at a disadvantage in all PvP content in the game if you don't have your arena towers maxed. Which, if you think about it that way, do you want to be at a disadvantage in every single match you fight? No, of course you don't. You don't want to do that. So max those towers. The other thing is speed. You've got to go before the waves. If the waves go before you, that's like a free shot on all your monsters that you then have to spend your turns responding to and fixing, basically. So if they go first, you're spending a lot of your time healing, cleansing, trying to get back to where you need to be. Whereas if you go first, you spend your first turns controlling, right? Controlling them and getting them offline and slowly killing them one by one, or however you do it. So go first any way you can. If it's a bar boost, do it. If it's swift runes instead of violent runes, do it. You need to go first. So those are the main HOH in general things that I can recommend. So yeah, that is something I think needs to be a priority if HOH is a priority, which they kind of should be. HOH, TOA hard. That's all. Like, that's like your income from the game. That's how you get paid. That is the game giving you things for free that people would pay for, and people do pay for. You know, Devilmon packs. These are This is your two-ish Devilmon packs for free from Come To Us. They're not as good as regular Devilmon because they're only 4 stars and they're only 1 unit, but it's free, so do it. Same with TOAH. Like, people buy packs for the stuff you get out of TOAH every month for free. So try to clear it if you can. The other thing that randomly I thought would be worth talking about, I got thinking about the Cannon Girls, is Christina, the Wind Cannon Girl. So I want to skill her up just because she's an at 5, but I don't have any use for the unit as is after the buff. And so what I was thinking is a good buff for her might be, you know how when Bastet got buffed, it didn't really require anything new. All they did is say, okay, Bastet is the nat 5 Megan. She does everything Megan does for more turns. She does it better. She has better base stats. Everything's just better. And people, when they saw that, were like, oh, this is better than the old Bastet, which was terrible. But it's just Megan. It's just Megan Plus. And then what we've slowly discovered over playing with Megan Plus is good. It's a great way to change a unit. So my thought for Christina would be, why not make Chilling Plus? Because she's kind of similar to Chilling in the multi-hit thing. She's got the 3 multi-hits on 1. She's got the 5 on 2. Maybe just make her a little more chilling-ish. Maybe give her some awesome buffs to apply to the team, or a always on every turn buff removal, right? We don't have a nat 5 chilling. I think that also would be neat, her being wind, having the elemental advantage over water, Woosas and Bastets and stuff like that. I think that'd be really cool. Yeah. So that's my buff idea for Christina. And in terms of buffs she could give, I don't know, Chilling gives speed, right? Is the main one. And then something else I can't remember at the moment. But she could give maybe something less used. Maybe she could do something weird like defense and attack, kind of like Megan, right? The attack buff is super useful, like in RTA, super useful. Maybe crit resist and crit, sort of a widen the gap and how hard everybody's gonna hit. Your team crits more, their team crits less. That'd be kind of interesting. I don't know. I think if you gave her like immunity, she'd be ridiculous. So that might be a little too much, but it could be a 1-turn immunity and a 3-turn attack buff. There's no reason they need to be lined up in any way. So I don't know. I think there's some possibilities there to make her useful. I don't know that there's anything that's thematically useful that lines up with the concept of having a cannon. I don't know. They seem to have made the cannon more like a Gatling gun, where it shoots a lot of bullets, a lot of things. I don't know. Maybe attacks all enemies 5 times, giving 1 random debuff with every attack. That'd be very Bastet-ish. But I don't know if it's useful. So anyway, that was my thought on Christina. I got thinking about her, and I'm sure she's going to catch a buff soon. I would think so. In terms of, I think, units that are going to catch a big nerf, I think Ager is not long for this world. Like, when he's sort of first pick-ish as a nat 4, like, no, that's not going to last. I can't imagine it lasts, especially since Shihu is amazing. He's like nat 5 Ager, except they're like the same strength, if not, he might be a little better. So I think he's going to catch a pretty big nerf. He's too good for nat 4. Like, when they nerfed Iris and Tableau, they were too good for nat 4s, and he might be better. He might be better than them in some ways. All right, so this is B10 here. So we're gonna slow it down. We're done with this HOH. I'm really kind of looking forward to the balance patch. There's a lot of little things that I think would be nice to tweak. And it seems like they're not afraid to bring units up all the way from the gutter all the way to top tier, like Daphnis and Shihu. Like, they went all the way to the very top, which is kind of cool. That means, that gives me hope. Maybe one of my monsters will go all the way to the very top. So here's the Covenant. We're 1 skill off on the 2. We have 25 pieces to buy the last skill up. I might buy it right now. I might wait. I don't have another fire, so if fire becomes like, you know, chilling 2.0 and just really, really good, then I would regret having fed my final fire. So I might keep it around for a little bit. I don't know that the final skill on his 2 is the end of the world, and I'll pull another sniper of some type at some point. So that's it for this HOH. I know we kind of talked about a lot of different topics. Hopefully they were interesting and or useful, and good luck to everybody farming the HOH. I realize I do not have my Varad set as my rep. I'm going to do that right now for my friends. If you have Varad, I would recommend setting it as a rep for your friends, because it's HOH week. And yeah, that's what friends do. So I will catch you in the next video, and take care, everybody.